Afternoon, guys. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. What I thought I'd do today is kind of go through. I did a video about a week ago where I kind of went through my pack that I took to Italy to teach and to do an event over there. I recently returned from France, day before yesterday, I believe it was, and I went over there to do an event with Maurice Neve at a survival expo in Paris. And I kind of wanted to go through what I carried for an urban type show where I wasn't going to be in the woods teaching. And part of the reason for this video is I carried a new backpack over there called the Amabilis pack. And this is the Amabilis backpack here. It is a backpack that's in Kickstarter right now. And I will first tell you that I am not getting paid a dime for doing this review. In fact, I turned down a percentage of sales on this backpack to do this review. When they first talked to me, I said, send me the pack, let me use it. I'm not going to do a review on it until after I've used it. Then I'll do a review and give you my thoughts, but I don't want the money. It's better for me to just give people the educational value of what I think about the pack. I think it's important that I do things to test gear so that I can properly educate people when they go to spend their hard-earned dollar on what is the best thing for me to buy for my money. I don't carry all of this stuff on my website, have no plans to carry all of it. I carry certain things, mainly that we develop, and then some things by smaller cottage makers, if you will, that I think are good products to help them sell more products as well. This is still in Kickstarter. Like I said, I have no plans of carrying this backpack or ever selling this backpack. So this is a very unbiased review, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it. I'm going to tell you one thing that I found a little bit annoying about it as well at the end of the video. But overall, I would carry this backpack overseas any day for an urban type environment. And that's really what it was designed for more than anything else. So the guy who designs these packs is an ex-designer of military gear. It's made from military grade material. It's a polyethylene type material on the outside. It's got a reinforced bottom on it so that you can scuff it up a little bit and not worry about it. It's got really nice zippers on it that are fairly watertight. The top of it has a closure on it very much like an Army duffel bag. And it has a waterproof fold-down style liner in it as well. I'll show you that as we go. So let's talk about this pack. First of all, without knowing the exact spec, and I probably should, I would guess that this is around the 31 to 35 liter mark. The reason I chose to go with this pack over my normal carry of the Rucker is I was going to be over there for more than 3 days, and I can't get enough stuff in that Rucker for 3 days, so I wanted something that was a little bigger. This is about perfect when you stuff it for a 5 to 6 day venture overseas for me. I don't have to carry tools and things like that when I go overseas for shows because I can get them from companies like Maurice Neve that are at the show that I'm doing. So that's not a problem. All I need to do is make sure that I have everything else to sustain myself, and I got all of that in this pack. So let's walk through this thing just a little at a time. Okay, let's talk about the outside of the pack first. Straps, very important. These have contoured shoulder straps on them. It does have a chest harness. It does not have a waist strap, but you shouldn't put anything in there that's heavy enough that you've got to have a waist strap on this thing just to walk through airports and around urban areas for short distances. This pack probably weighs in the neighborhood of 25 pounds, fully loaded with what's in it now. It has a zippered hidden compartment here on the inside, the lumbar area, that's really kind of like a concealed carry pocket. If you want to shove, a smaller model Glock in there, or some type of a military and police model Smith & Wesson would fit in there easy enough, but a small concealed carry would fit in there. What I used it for was just something I needed to get to really quick on the airplane, phone charging cable and a pair of headphones when I was traveling. I stuck it there so it was on the outside. I could just grab it before I threw this thing up into the hold area. I carried this thing on the plane. I did not check this bag, all right? Both sides have a large Velcro panel on them. They have splits in them so you can shove pens and things in there if you want to. I've just got a couple morale patches on here. Scandinavian Pathfinder School patch, instructor patch on this side. Maurice Neve patch from Kiev and an American flag on this side. More decorative than anything else, okay? It has a pocket on the outside here that's really kind of part of the inside of the pack. The pocket doesn't stick out of the pack. It's parallel with the pack here. And what that is it's a water bottle pouch. And I have a Grail in there. so that I can disinfect water if I need to when I'm walking around town and things like that. But I also have that ability to just fill that thing up at a water fountain if I want to in an airport and use it that way. It's got a pocket on the outside on this side that's small and accessible that you could also use for things like headphones or charging cables, things like that. Something you needed to get to very, very quickly. It's actually big enough you could shove your passport in there if you wanted to. I'm a big fan of carrying my passport on my person all the time. I never let that thing go out of my sight, along with my RFID wallet when I'm traveling overseas. That's a different discussion altogether. So those are your outside pockets. Now it does have one pocket here on the very back side. It actually has a tab or a buckle here so that you could actually put a lock through this zipper if you wanted to, and through that D-ring, and that is a laptop compartment. And inside that, I've got my MacBook, all right? So my MacBook fits down inside that, and it fits in there all the way with no problem. And this is a full-size MacBook. So if you were going to put something in there that was smaller than that, some type of a iPad or something like that, it would easily fit in there. Now I've stretched this thing a little bit to make sure that these zippers are going to hold up, and I've been pretty rough on them. And they're good zippers, there's no question about that. Now, let's look at the top end of this pack. I'm going to kind of try to stand beside the camera a little bit here. Like I said, this thing has a duffel bag type clip on it that opens up and folds up just like a duffel bag. What I did with this is I ended up putting my jacket inside this on top of the waterproof lining. There were a couple reasons for that. Number one, I didn't need my jacket all the time, and it makes it very easy to get to without having to open the pack, because it will open in suitcase or clamshell type fashion as well, but you don't have to unzip anything to get to that jacket right here. The other reason I did that is if you don't have this thing filled up at the top, and this was the one thing that kind of annoyed me about the pack, what tends to happen is this clip here, if you grab this pack, and I'm not gentle with this stuff, I mean, I'm not always picking this thing up by the pull strap. I'm grabbing this thing like this and yanking it different places. And what ended up happening was, of course, you can't ever make something happen when you want it to. There it goes right there. What would happen was you could pull this side up and it would be stuck inside the clip, and this part would be down on the bottom. So you wouldn't have it exactly closed the way it should be. And to get that back to its configuration it's supposed to be in, you kind of have to fiddle fuss around and undo it and then redo it. But what circumvented that really easy was just to put my jacket in the top like that. And then when I closed everything down, it had enough pressure on the top of it that couldn't happen. So that's just one thing that I saw that I wasn't real fond of. Other than that, I mean, that's really the only flaw I could find in this pack system. And this clip is heavy duty. I mean, you got to push it to get it on there. So it's got good heavy duty reinforcements on it everywhere. Everything's quality. So now, let's take this out of here real quick and discuss what you've got on the inside here. What you have here on the inside of the pack is you have basically the same type closure system as a waterproof bag. So you could actually, let me back this up just a little bit. You could actually stuff all of your gear into the main body of this pack and then roll this up. And this is just going to kind of keep the contents, I'm sure you can't submerge this thing and not keep it dry. But if water were spilled on it or in a light rain or something like that, your stuff inside is probably not going to get wet. So that's an advantage. Now, what I do is I just rolled that thing up and left it. Like I said, I put my jacket in front of it, and then I pack the pack from the clamshell. And we're going to open that clamshell up right now and talk about that so you can see how that works as well. Okay, I'm trying to keep a good camera angle here for you guys and good lighting on this so you can see everything. So, like I said, you can open this up just like a clamshell if you chose to. And inside this clamshell, right in the inside flap, you have a zippered compartment. I like that because I don't have to zip this thing all the way down if I don't want to get to that pocket. All I need to do is unzip it and fold it over, and there it is. In that pocket, I had a charging cable, an extra plug, I had my headphones, I had a plug for my solar charger, my tripod, and my phone mount in case I wanted to shoot video or some kind of a still photo, and then just a couple of pens and a notebook. So there's really a lot of room in there for quite a bit of stuff because I had that thing stuffed to the gills and it was fine. I like to carry tripods, a small tripod like that, this monopod or ultra pod I think it's called. I like to carry that ultra pod with me wherever I go because it just gives you that ability to be able to put that thing somewhere and shoot a video if you want to, or if you're trying to shoot some kind of a slow-mo or a time lapse or anything like that where you want to hold the camera good and still. It gives you that ability. It also gives you the ability of having a place to hold on to the camera, like your phone, when you're walking around. Instead of having to try to hold the phone in your hand, you can hold on to that ultra pod. So that was all in that pouch, easily accessible. Basically all of my electronics except for the charging unit or the power unit for my MacBook, which are in the very bottom of this pack because they're the last thing I would have to get to. Okay, now opening this up further. This is the clothing that I took, and it's the only clothing that I took, and it's pretty much all that's in here other than those charging cables because everything else that I would need is on the outside. So let's talk about clothing for a minute, aside from this pack, just for the educational value, okay? Basically, when I go any place, I have a couple things. First of all, I have a wind jacket, and I have a shemagh. I always have some type of a hat, and it's in the very bottom of this pack, and it's just a oilcloth type cap. Grab it out real quick so you can see it. So I've got something to cover my head if it's raining. Simple stuff. Now, I believe in keeping everything simple. I've got one wool shirt. This is a Woolen Prince wool OD green dress shirt. I've got one pair of Sasta bushcraft style pants. I've got one pair of Helicon Tech tactical pants, and I've got one pair of Fjallraven bushcraft style pants. So I've got 3 pairs of pants. I wore 1 pair of these on the plane, so there are only 2 pair in the pack. And then I have, of course, like I said, the Woolen Prince dress shirt, a Helicon Tech dress shirt, and a Helicon Tech quick dry shirt. That gave me all of the clothing that I needed as far as outer clothing goes for the 5 days, including what I wore on the plane coming and going. Now, I carry this pod on the inside, and this pod has everything else in it except for my toiletries. And I did have that bag in here as well. And I keep that, again, very, very simple. A brush, toothbrush, hair ties because I have long hair, just the simple stuff. Deodorant, not very much, in a clear plastic bag, and I throw it in there at the last minute. I didn't have that out here to show you. This pod is, again, it's something that goes with my GoRuck pack. It's a GoRuck pod. But it unzips and folds open and has 2 compartments. This is kind of one of my go-to pieces of gear for traveling. And when I travel, I like to travel with clothes, number 1, that are light, number 2, that I can wear over and over again if I want to, and they're not going to stink. So I try to go with wool, all right? These are 4 t-shirts that are all merino wool. All of them are minus 33 degrees in 4 different colors. Real simple, easy explanation there. That way I can mix and match. On the other side of this thing, I have 2 pairs of merino wool underwear, again, minus 33 degrees, a Mork Neve buff, and 5 pairs of socks. I had one of these pairs of socks on while I was traveling, 1 pair of underwear on while I was traveling, all right? So they were not included in this as well. But that gives me, most of my undergarments and things like that are all in this one pod, in one place, easy to get to and pull out of the bag so that I can take the bag for other things. The only other things inside this bag that are inside this Amabilis bag, again, 1 extra charging port, the cable for my MacBook, and an adapter for the country that I'm going to be in this case, a European adapter. That's it. That was the totality of what I carried. Now this pack also has an inner pocket on the inside with a zip here and a sleeve if you want to put a hydration bladder in there, you want to stuff your laptop or your iPad in there, or you can do the same thing in this sleeve here. And it does come, when you buy the pack, with an inner sleeve that I'll show you here in just a second that I did not use. Okay, the other thing that this pack comes with is it comes with an internal organizer. And it Velcros on, so it has a Velcro panel here that you could actually put stuff on if you wanted to. The other side of it is orange, so you've got a marker panel. It's got an internal pocket if you wanted it. And then this side that Velcros on also has different types of organizer pockets in it as well, and a mesh pocket here at the bottom. So if you're using this thing for an urban pack, an everyday pack like you're carrying to work, things like that, it's got a lot of abilities. As far as a travel pack goes, you know, I wouldn't hesitate to carry this thing, and I probably will carry this thing quite a bit more. Okay guys, well I appreciate you joining me today for this quick review of the Amabilis pack. Again, I just think that good products on the market deserve to be shown to people so that when they consider spending their hard-earned dollar on something and they need something that fits in that category. And this channel is not all about bushcraft, it's about self-reliance and what I do. And what I do is travel right now. So I'm starting to get a lot more experience with those type items. And I put this thing through a pretty good test, you know, in Europe. 4 different airports. I walked 5 to 6K every night through Paris with this pack. In and out of the show every single day. Tossed it around, threw it around, beat it up, and it satisfied me. No question about that. I haven't used it long term yet, but I plan to continue carrying it. So if you watch my channel or you ask me later on down the line, how's that Amabilis pack doing? I'll be able to tell you. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.